Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phuc, a lecturer from University of Languages and International Studies, a member of Vietnam National University, Hanoi. As a lecturer with an interest in doing research in language learning and teaching, I wish to learn from other educators and researchers to improve my teaching. I also wish to share my 10-year teaching experience with you in this international conference, Viet TESOL. And I hope and believe that my research today will be a reliable source for you in the fields related to creativity. This is my research entitled An Action Research into the Role of Teaching for Creativity in English as a Foreign Language Classrooms. Okay. And yeah, here is the table of contents for my presentation today. My presentation today covers 6 main points, namely the rationale for the study, literature review, research methods, findings, and finally some implications in conclusion. Okay, so the reasons why I chose creativity for my study it comes from a new concept in the 21st century called 4Cs. And 4Cs nowadays, this concept is very popular and widely known and widely used in language learning and teaching. And this new concept has reshaped our education for the last almost 20 years. So 4Cs include 4 components, namely communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. And this new concept has reshaped education, and new teaching approaches have been applied and across the all over the globe. And 4Cs helps learners to get involved in the active learning process and also increase their learning motivation to reduce the stress during learning and teaching. And also it helps develop learners' language skills. So overall, 4Cs helps learners become creative and independent. So that is the reason why this new concept with new teaching approaches have been applied across across the world and particularly in Vietnam. And my research focuses on creativity as a component, the core component of 4Cs in language learning and teaching, because creativity brings a number of benefits for both learners and teachers, and I will present them later on. Okay, and in terms of objectives, this study focuses on investigating the impacts or the role of teaching for creativity on students, including these criteria, these areas: academic performance, learning motivation, and learning autonomy. So these are the objectives of my study. And the scope of this study, in terms of research scope, this study aims at investigating the impacts of creativity in academic courses. And in terms of participants involved in the study, this research involved 2 groups of 58 non-English major students at level B1 intermediate. And 2 chosen groups of students they are both from University of Engineering and Technology. This is also a university member of Vietnam National University, and I've been teaching in here for almost 10 years. Okay, and now I will present some key points in the literature review. related to 4Cs and creativity. So as you know, 4Cs in the 21st century is very important. And yeah, it has been proved to be effective in language learning and teaching. It includes communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. And all of these skills can be learned and taught. As for 4Cs, the concept 4C was first identified in 2002 by a non-profit organization called Partnership for 21st Century Skills. And it has had a great impact on learning and teaching a language globally for almost 20 years. And it brings a number of benefits, both for educators and learners. And the first component of 4Cs is critical thinking. So simply defined, this is simply defined as solving the problem. Okay, we're thinking about the problem, the issue, and then we try to figure out a solution to the problem. In-depth critical thinking involves many processes, we need to analyze the issues, the problem, and then we need to generate ideas, and we need to find solutions to the problems, to the issues, and we need to evaluate, and we need to give reasons why we choose the solutions. And once we have found out the solution, we will evaluate if the solution work in real life in a particular situation. And this is a skill built to conduct thorough analysis of issues and deal with them. And the next components are used for interaction, like in pair work, group work. And these two components involve the ability to communicate with confidence, as well as that is communication. And another one is collaborating in teams, called collaboration. So these are for interaction, for communication in real life and also in academic environment. And the last component that is also the focus of my study today is creativity. Creativity is the process of turning imaginative ideas into reality. And creativity involves two processes, like thinking and producing. And this one was introduced by Nguyen, 1998. So he also added that innovation is the production or implementation of an idea. Well, from my perspective, the processes of creativity also should involve reflection, because once we think about the issue, once we think about the problem, we need to we need to make a product from our creativity. But right after that, we need to reflect to see how it works, and to see whether our products are good quality or not, and also to see whether we need to make any improvements in that, and how also. And creativity can be supported, encouraged, and cultivated, as well as weakened, suffocated, or even killed, according to Robinson in 2005. And this is the focus of my study, because during my lessons, in almost all my lessons, I've been trying to integrate creativity activities to motivate my students, and also to foster their language skills. So How can we foster learners' creativity in our lessons? Here we, as for learners, we categorize them into two types. The first one is visual learners. These are those who learn by seeing, and the other group is kinesthetic learners or hands-on learners who learn by doing. And for both groups, we need to teach the students and also encourage them to be creative, okay, to get the best benefit of this concept. And next, I'm going to show some details in my research methods, how I conducted this action research. My research was based on three instruments named questionnaire, semi-structured interviews, and class observations to find out the findings. And my study involved two groups of 58 non-majors at level B1. And this was conducted for a 2-semester school year with the same groups in 2019. And among these instruments, the class observations, this activity was regularly conducted, and the data were kept a record, were recorded, regularly to keep record of the students' performance as well as progress. And the activities I use in class to foster my students' creativity include, they belong to two groups. The first group involves the synchronous task in class. Why I use synchronous? Because these tasks are integrated directly to the lesson right in class, and the tasks the students are supposed to do are also included in the class hours, so they don't do the task outside the class hours. So I call this synchronous tasks. These tasks include designing a logo for VNU and creating an advertising product, designing a travel flyer, and designing a newsletter on Teachers' Day. So all these activities were used to foster students' creativity in a short time. And for these tasks, the students were supposed to deliver a short presentation. And the second type of activity used in my teaching involved asynchronous tasks. I call it complex projects that the students do outside the class hours. So these tasks, these tasks are assigned as home assignment, and the students are supposed to work in groups. So the tasks for asynchronous tasks include university tour. The students, they had to make a video to introduce their university. Maybe a member of Vietnam National University or all the members in my big university, Vietnam National University. And the next big project is Hanoi tour. And the students were also asked to make a video, make a field trip video. That means they had to go to the site, any site in Hanoi City, and they had to make a video of the field trip. Of course, I did give guidelines. And for these projects, the students were supposed to deliver a well-prepared group presentation, much longer than synchronous tasks. Okay, and for both tasks, for these activities, they were conducted with both simple and complex tasks. And these are some documentaries of synchronous and asynchronous tasks I conducted in my class at UET, University of Engineering and Technology. This is the first synchronous task. The students, they worked in groups of 4 or 5, and right in class, about within 15 minutes, they were supposed to design a new logo for VNU and then present the meanings shown or hidden in the logo. And I always encourage students to represent university members of VNU on the logo. And I provided them with useful language for presentation. This is the first activity called designing a logo for VNU. And here are some products I kept record. I just want to show some products made by my students here right in class within 15 minutes, including the time for designing the logo as well as the time for preparing for a short presentation. So from this logo, they represented different university members of VNU, including law, science, HUS, Hanoi University of Science, also pharmacy, ULIS for languages, technology for their own university, for economics and for humanity. And with a slogan here. And the second synchronous task conducted is designing a flyer, a travel flyer. So these are the products chosen from the list of my students' products. Actually, right in class, they were supposed to design a flyer themselves. But actually, I didn't have, most of my classes, we didn't have enough time to design and to present the flyer. So that's why I assigned it as homework. And these are the products submitted by my students. Here, they design a travel flyer themselves in groups. And as for asynchronous tasks, these are some documentary pictures of designing a newsletter for Teachers' Day. Okay, here, outside the classroom. The students, outside class hours, the students, they gather together, and together they designed and decorated the newsletter to welcome Teachers' Day. And this is almost the final product. And the next asynchronous task conducted outside the class hours are field trip. This is a very, very big project assigned to the students. And like I said, the students, they had to make a field trip video in groups. They could choose any site in Hanoi and make a video about it. And after making and editing and finalizing the video, they were supposed to deliver an oral presentation in class. So this project was the biggest one in our 2 semester school year. These are some pictures from my students' field trip. Here. In the field trip, they also had an interview. They conducted interviews with foreigners. And another project is university tour. The students, they also work in groups, and then they took a tour around the university. They could choose a university. It might be their own university or another university a member in Vietnam National University. And my students, they all chose to take a tour around their own university, University of Engineering and Technology. Okay, so above all the activities that were conducted during my teaching in 2019 at UET, University of Engineering and Technology. And a note for this is that both simple and complex tasks, let's say synchronous and asynchronous tasks, were both used in both semesters. I mean, in semester 1 and also in semester 2, both simple and complex tasks were assigned to the students. I didn't assign complex tasks for the second. I didn't assign all complex tasks for semester 2 only, but I decided to stretch out in both semester 1 and semester 2. And I was very lucky because I had 1 year with my 2 groups. So I had lots of experience with them. That is enough for my data collection. And here are some findings collected from questionnaires, interviews, and as well as class observations. So first, I will present the findings collected from questionnaires and interviews with the students. In terms of students' engagement, let's say motivation, the students in semester 1, as you can see here, most of them, 54%, they show their willingness to do their assigned tasks. 32% felt excited, and 14% they show their reluctance in doing these tasks because they told me that they couldn't cooperate with the other team members and they didn't get along, so that's why they were reluctant to get involved in group work activities. And in the second semester, actually for time by time, I try to motivate my students to work in the same groups so that they could understand each other more. But in semester 2, I decided to make a change, and the students they didn't work in the same groups anymore, so they joined a new group. So for semester 2, the results here show a much more positive thing. You can see here a majority of students, they showed their excitement about the assigned projects, about the assigned tasks, both simple and complex. And 30% of the students, they were willing to participate in them. And happily 5%, only 5%, they were still reluctant to join these creativity tasks. And surprisingly, to my surprise, most of the students, they show more interest in complex projects aside as asynchronous tasks. They were also fully engaged in my synchronous and simple synchronous tasks. But actually, in my interview, they did show their excitement and they did show their desire for more complex tasks where they could maximize their creativity as well as learning autonomy. And also the data collected from questionnaires and interviews include here the findings for synchronous tasks and asynchronous tasks. I forgot to add the title here for this. Actually, these results show the students' motivation, whether they felt motivated and they felt that they got lots of benefits from these activities or not. So here for semester 1, the students they were more motivated by asynchronous tasks. The same situation for semester 2, and Yeah, to my excitement, 98% of the students, they show their interest in doing complex tasks. Okay, and you can see the number here kept increasing from semester 1 and semester 2. And I must say that in semester 1, I had to work a lot to guide my students how to do the assigned tasks, both in class and outside class hours. But in semester 2, yeah, it seems that once the students were more familiar with their tasks, and yeah, and also at this time their English level was higher, and they became more confident. So that's why they did their tasks more smoothly. And over time, the students show more confidence and independence in complex asynchronous tasks. And these are the difficulties reported by the students. They involve limited time, especially for synchronous tasks. I myself must say that right in class hours, we didn't have enough time for complex synchronous tasks, but I had to assign them as homework. So that's why the students, they didn't have enough time, and they couldn't maximize their creativity as well as their language ability in this. The second difficulty is poor collaboration. Some students, they were reluctant to get involved in to participate in creativity tasks because they didn't get along with their team members, especially for asynchronous tasks. That's easy to see and easy to understand because within right inside the classroom, right in class, the teacher, yeah, me as a facilitator, I could encourage and I could supervise my students' work, teamwork. So that's why they had to cooperate well together. But outside the class hours, I couldn't. Um, I didn't have, yeah, I couldn't supervise all their group work, their assignment, and their task division. I couldn't uh, control all of them. So that's why many students reported they didn't get along with the other team members and didn't, then therefore they didn't feel like, well, these tasks worked for me. I didn't want to join, and it seemed like it's no use. Yeah. And the last difficulty is low English level, and especially for asynchronous tasks. Well, it is also easy to understand because as for synchronous tasks conducted right in class hours, I did give useful language, and I did give a detailed guidelines for all the groups. And also the tasks were much simpler. But as for asynchronous tasks, they were more complex. Yeah, complex projects. So that's why, yeah, projects like conducting a field trip and conducting a university tour. Yeah, so these are very, very complicated and challenging for them. And they felt like the English level was not good enough for this. And to my surprise also, my students preferred complex asynchronous tasks, but they wished to be guided in class, right in class hours, before working on their own outside the class hours. So for semester 2, I did give them the detailed guidelines right in class. They even had time to rehearse in class before before they conducted the field trip, as well as deliver an oral presentation after the field trip. And these are the findings collected from my class observations. In terms of academic performance, I kept a detailed and regular record of my students' performance and found out that, happily found out that my students' study results improved time by time. Actually, I also gave them encouraging marks, to motivate them right in the task, but undeniably their academic performance, uh, yeah, was much better time by time, improved time by time. And they felt more confident in speaking English and could use the language better. Actually, this is contrary to the data collected from the questionnaires and interviews. Because when I marked and when I attended their oral presentations and I did watch their videos, I myself found out that their English level was not that bad. Actually, yeah, in contrast, it is up to my expectation and even somewhere, yeah, above my expectation. And almost all the students, they felt motivated with creativity, fostering activities. Therefore, they got more engaged in learning and producing and in making a product, submitting a product. And noticeably, the learning autonomy was much higher. And especially in the complex asynchronous tasks, the students, they wish to be guided. But actually for semester 2, I didn't have to, I didn't have to spend much time guiding because they were more like familiar with their task, and their English level was better, and they cooperated, better together. So that's why time by time, it seems that their academic performance as well as their learning autonomy and especially their motivation in learning became improved, higher, and all of these were up to my expectations. And I also must say that apart from students' effort, I myself as a teacher also made great effort to motivate my students, to guide them, and also to tell them in details what to do. And I myself spend lots of time editing their first draft, their first video, and before they finalize everything. And also, once the students were guided like that, they would feel like, well, they would value and appreciate teachers' effort, and they all, it seems to me that they all try their best to live up to my expectations. And so this is my presentation comes to implications and comes to conclusion. I just give some key points here. Contrary to common belief before, at least in my teaching experience, I find out that creativity as one of the indispensable components of 4C skills for the 21st century. This skill can be learned, taught, and implemented in any language classroom. And creativity is a tool to strongly motivate language learners, foster their language skills also, as well as enhance their learning autonomy. And teachers should be the ones to teach, guide, and also encourage the students to maximize their creativity. So that's all for all the key points for my presentation today. These are the references for my study. I adopted some terms, the terms, and also the definitions, and also the concepts from Nyman and Robinson. So that's all for my presentation today. Thank you for listening. And right now, if you have any questions, I'm very happy and willing to answer them. Thank you.